All right, so how we could set up the logic in our controller where instead of the generic 500 one, we're going to be getting 400. Well, let's think about it. We're getting this error class or constructor from where? We're getting it from JavaScript, correct? It's already provided for us. And we know that in JavaScript, we could extend from a certain class. Where essentially I can just add some extra logic and then use that instance instead. So let's try it out. And a quick side note, if you need a refresher on JavaScript class syntax, as well as how to implement subclassing with extends, as always, MD and Docs is a great place to start. And we're going to do that here, right in the controller. And then once we have all the logic in place, then we'll separate the concerns. So for now, let's do this way. Let's create a class, and I'm going to call this one custom API error. Now, the name is really up to you. Like I said, we're going to go with extends and error, like so. So once we extend, then we want to go with constructor, and then we'll pass here the message. And then in the curlies, we'll go with super, then message, and then I want to add that status code. I simply want to add the property on my instance. Now, what property do I want to add? Well, this one, because at the moment, this one is still the generic 500 one. And the way we do that, we go with this dot status and then code, and that is equal to my status codes, correct? Again, you can hard code this as 400. In my case, I'm going to go with status codes and then bad request. So that's the 400 one. And now instead of going with error, I'm going to go with custom API error. So I can still pass in the message, just like in the normal error. However, in this case, there is this property status code on it. And then we pass here the 400. So now what we need to do is to go back to the error handler. And in the default error, do the same thing like with message, where I'm going to say if the error object that is coming in has the status code property, use that one. And again, in here, remember that we're overriding that anyway. So let's just go here and let's just say error dot status code. If it is present, use that one. If not, use the generic one. And now let's try it out in our Postman, where I'm going to go back, I'm going to send it and check it out. Not only I have please provide all the values, I also have the 400 one. And just so you don't think that I'm messing with you, I'm going to add the name and let's remove the email. And you'll see that the result is exactly the same, apart from the fact that I'm not particularly bright and I have a syntax error. And there you go. Now I have please provide all values. Beautiful. So that means that my logic works. Where in here we are extending from the error class. And then we invoke the instance. So we invoke the custom API error. And there we pass in the message, and the status code is already hard coded here. So essentially, it is set to 400. So every time I'll use the custom API error instance, what do you think is going to happen? Well, we'll get that 400 as a status code, and then we can always provide whatever message we want, just like with normal error class.